Welcome back, Trinidad and Tobago, to the Morning Brew. So before we went for the break, I told you that we're going to be talking about things that we don't really talk about. Now, just to explain what I mean is that, you know, there's some things that you just don't want to bring up in public, something you just don't want to bring up in the workplace because it's a bit taboo. It's something so controversial, so mad in controversy that you tend not to want to bring it up because it stirs emotions. You're not sure how it's going to pan out. You're not sure how the person is going to react. You're not sure how you're going to be perceived. And that makes it all the more interesting. In fact, I do enjoy my co-workers who have no tact whatsoever in the workplace. I could point out one right now. I could point that way, and the person is there. And I told her this morning when we were looking at this interview, I said, this is perfect for you. You have no tact whatsoever. But good morning. We have some representatives from TEDx and TEDx. And they are going to tell us exactly what we mean by taboo conversations and their presentation called Off Record. So on set, we have Miss Denise Deming and we have Miss Ariad Chandler. Did I get that correct?
Ariad.
Ariad. And I practiced, which is really what upsetting me at the moment. But good morning.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
All right, so tell us about, first of all, tell us about the importance of these taboo conversations. How did you all conceptualize really going after taboo conversations and bringing it to the fore?
Well, we chose the theme Off Record this year for our 2015 conference because we're celebrating our 5th anniversary. And usually we have salons or small events that lead up to the conference. And this year we thought, well, since we're doing Off Record, and Off Record is talking about things that, you know, aren't really spoken about, we wanted to introduce taboo conversations to further carry on that theme of Off Record. So we decided there are things that in society that people may not address or may not want to talk about, and we thought we'd deal with that head on.
Mr. Bing, tell us, okay, you know, I should have really asked, what is TEDx in this point?
What is TEDx?
Yeah.
TEDx is an international brand. TED.com is the main brand, and they have held conferences over the last 30 years. And the concept is ideas worth spreading. Mm-hmm. And you're given 18 minutes or less to tell us about your idea, to share that concept. If you can't do it in 18 minutes or less, then clearly you haven't worked it out. And TEDx PortofSpain, we have a license to do our own conferences, and we've done this 5 times. Well, 4 times. This is going to be our fifth year.
You know, I did watch the TED series on Netflix, and it's really some great life hacks, I like to call it, where people give their testimony on different little tweaks and little things they made in their own life that has resulted in them being successful, more happy. There was this businessman who worked all the time, made a lot of money, and then he decided, you know what, I'm going to spend more time with my family. And he explained to a really shocked audience, he's making less money now, but to him, he's more successful, right, and he's happier. So, I mean, if you all want to really get on board with this TED series leading up to this event and trying to get a little more okra with what's going on, I really suggest that you all check it out. But let's get back to this off-record topic now. When will you all be hosting this conference, this presentation?
October 14th, and it's going to be in Queen's Hall from 12 noon to 8 p.m.
Okay, so off-record taboo conversations. Give us some examples, Ms. Deming, of what you consider taboo, what you consider that's something that you don't really bring up in public or in the workplace very much.
One of our speakers, Indrani Goradia, who all our speakers are Trinidadians, and they speak about things that impact Trinidad. Indrani is really a phenomenal person. She has been involved in starting, she's a philanthropist, she's involved in starting Population Services International, and her focus is on gender-based violence and how gender-based violence impacts people's productivity, how it impacts their lives. She's actually a victim of violence as a child, and that is what motivated and inspired her to start a global organization. So she has Indrani's Light Foundation. And Indrani is a global speaker. And when she talks about gender-based violence and how we stop gender-based violence, that will make an impact. Let's bring that to our current operating situation. Gender-based violence is critical in our country, but we're not talking about it. We just had a recent event in which a child shot a prison officer, you know, and that the basis of that, if you go down to its root cause, that is gender-based violence. But we are not having a real discussion about it in our society. So one of the things that TEDx PortofSpain is trying to do is to pull some of those conversations mainstream, so at least we confront it. if you confront it, it gives you an opportunity to find a solution for it in the future. So that's just one example.
It's about breaking down the barriers surrounding the topic, make it more accessible, and taking away that taboo stigma attached to it. So I assume the same would be something like LGBT issues.
Yes, we did a Taboo conversation series 2 months ago, and we did address LGBT issues. We had 2 people sit down and just have a conversation about it, because we don't. That's just something that in our society that we don't openly discuss. It usually ends up in a heated argument. Somebody's usually offended, and so we just wanted to create a space where you can talk about it. You can ask the questions that you want to ask. You can say the things that you may not be able to say to someone else, and it's an open, safe space to do that.
And you're all having stuff leading up to October, where you're having the off-record, you're having something called a taboo conversations.
Yeah. So that was one that we had in June. We had one last month as well, where we spoke about abortion and euthanasia. And this month, we're going to have an event in collaboration with True Talk No Lie, which is an open mic event monthly. We're going to ask people to bring things that they've never read out loud. So things that they've written as a child, as an adult even, but things that they've never shared publicly. We are creating that forum for people to come and just read something that no one has ever heard before.
Tell me about the physical layout of the last session you all had. Abortion and euthanasia must have been really heated.
That was emotional, because what we talked about, not so much abortion, but a pediatrician, Vanessa Stewart, answered some questions about when do you have the right, or when do you decide on whether a baby lives, and the things that a pediatrician would go through in order to make that kind of decision. And that was really emotional, because people did not contemplate that that is an issue. And the way we do it in such a way that the audience is able to ask questions of the presenter. And that makes them very much in touch with it. That's a very small, very intimate kind of event. And on the same day after we were finished with talking about babies and the survival of babies, because the shoebox phenomenon in our country is a big one, where a premature baby goes home in a shoebox. At least I've heard my mother talk about that. Now it's a little different. So after talking about babies, we then spoke about when dying with dignity. And we don't have the legal framework to support a lot of the kinds of decisions that people will have to make about their death. But we don't even have the conversations around, if I become terminal or if I become vegetative, who can pull the plug? Who has the right to make that decision? And that is a really big issue, because as our population gets to be an older population, you will have more of those issues coming up. And if you've not had the conversation with the people who are close to you, then you may end up in a vegetative situation that you had expressed that you don't want to be in, but there is no mechanism to facilitate your departure. So we had that in conjunction with Trinidad Theatre Workshop, and it was a very, very emotion-driven evening.
Because these are some, what we call uncomfortable issues, things that decisions you'd rather not have to make, things that you rather it's not your responsibility to make certain decisions. Are you all planning on having anything with respect to taboo conversations, let's say, in specific environments, maybe like in the workplace?
Well, all of TEDx impacts the workplace because it impacts humanity, and it impacts persons. Can you imagine someone in a workplace who comes to work every day with a parent who's terminal and has to deal with that in the workplace? Come to a TEDx conference and you will get some kind of discussion about how that has been handled. So TEDx really is a business conference. One of the issues we'll be talking about this time in 2015, one of our speakers is Naima Muakil Zakuri. And Naima is a child of the 1970 Jamaat insurrection. Now, Naima has become the curator at the Central Bank, and she's responsible for the Money Museum. But Naima has a story, and there are hundreds of children who are now adults functioning in our workplace. The Commission of Inquiry dealt with a particular aspect of that. But when we talk about what was the role of the children and how has that impacted their lives now, a lot of workplaces will not even consider that one of their employees is a child of the Jamaat in 1990s, but many of them are there. And we haven't even started to have a conversation about it. So TEDx is an attempt for us to talk about deep issues that affect our country on an ongoing basis, because we spend too much time just putting things under the rug and not saying to ourselves that unless these things percolate up to the top, our society will just not move on.
Ms. Chandler, what are some of the other conversations you'll be touching on during the off-record event?
We're going to be talking about design, something that has been very under the rug in Trinidad lately because we focus so much on business and medical occupations, so we don't really address creativity at all in this country. We're going to be bringing back a past speaker, Afro Raymond, who is going to, I believe he's going to address corruption again, or is he going to address something else? I'm not too sure as yet. He'll surprise us. But it's just anything that you can think of that, you know, that isn't being talked about. That's really what we just want to bring to the forefront and put on a global platform, because all of our talks are recorded and 2 of them made it to the TED.com website, which is seen globally.
And how do we get there?
TEDxPortofSpain.com. You can go on there, and we have tickets on sale right now. We have early bird tickets for $300, and that's for all-day conference. It includes meals. You come, you enjoy yourself, you get talks of your life, and then you leave feeling inspired to do something else or to become a better person at the end of the day. So TEDxPortofSpain.com gives you all of the information that you need.
Any other platform for information, social media?
Yes, definitely. You can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And that's where we would post things about our events. Anything that we have happening, it will be on there. As well as we have a MailChimp. So if you subscribe to our MailChimp, you'll get weekly or more like monthly updates on what's going on.
Right. And you will have another little event coming up preceding that
Yes, we do. So it's going to be on the 4th Wednesday of August, which I believe is the 26th. We're going to be at the Big Black Box in collaboration with True Talk No Lie. And if you have anything that you've written that you've always wanted to perform but never got the chance to, this is your chance to do that. So you can check out the Facebook page for more info.
Okay, closing comments from you, Ms. Deming?
The TEDx PortofSpain, we have 50 talks on our website, TEDxPortofSpain.com. There are 50 talks by Trinidadians about Trinidad. We've had close to 1 million views of our talks. Afro Raymond is responsible for the majority of that. But the point about it is that our community needs to buy into TEDx PortofSpain, because TEDx PortofSpain is a place for people who have curious minds and who want to just understand a little more or even share a little more about our society. So visit us, our Facebook page, visit us on our website, TEDxPortofSpain.com.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. Lots to gain from TEDx PortofSpain. Lots to learn on that day as well. It's really going to be an eye-opener. It's really going to teach you how to deal with these uncomfortable situations and how we make it a lot more comfortable to talk about and how we make it more inclusive in our day-to-day lives. So thank you very much. Let's take a quick break and come back with more.